Hello, children. How are you all? Hope you are all safe. Let us continue our lesson number 2. But before we before we continue with the lesson, let us recall with what we have done in part 1 and 2. We studied about Age of Renaissance, geographical discoveries, intellectual revolution, American War of Independence, and French Revolution. Let us move on to the next topic, that is Industrial Revolution. Children, when we talk about industry, first thing that comes in our mind is machines. Work done with the help of machines. One of the significant development in human history. Now imagine you are in 1820s. You live in, say, England. You probably work in agriculture. When you walk to town, you are either pulling your own cart or, if you are lucky enough, you have your own cows. There is no electricity, no running water in your house. You have to wash clothes with your own hands, cook food on fire. Now you imagine that you close your eyes in 1820 and wake up in 1920. By now, most of the people in England do not work in agriculture. They work in shops, transport, mining, or in factories. Cars exist. Some people have radios. A few people have refrigerators. Occasionally, you might even see an airplane flying in the sky. Welcome to Industrial Revolution. In 1776, English inventor James Watt launched a steam engine that improved earlier models of machines. People knew about animal power, wind power, but steam power completely revolutionized. People could not even imagine how much work could be done on behalf of humans. The cottage industries were replaced by big factories. These factories used to produce types of goods. These largely transported and sold in the market. For that, they needed to find quicker and faster mode of transport. Steam engines were created for transportation and used in trains and ships. Trade flourished. All this means that everyday life also transformed. England came to be known as World Factory. Trade was not possible single-handedly. Many traders came together. Many trading companies joined hands with each other. Trade with Oriental countries. Oriental countries means Eastern countries, were more profitable because they helped them to raise their capital, that is, raise their money. Along with this, competition among the traders rised. Each one wanted to be rich and prove their supremacy. So, European countries used another strategy in trade. They told the kings, Mughals, and kings that we will give you military protection, and in return you have to give us trade concession, which led to the rise of capitalist economic system in Europe. A lot of wealth started accumulating in Europe. They strengthened the military power. Children, you must have heard about the word colonialism, which means a country which is more powerful in terms of economy and military strength, occupies and exploits another region and establishes its political supremacy. And Europe was one of them. Once they have raised their colonies in Asia and Africa, with which they could have their trade, they developed their political supremacies, which further gave rise to imperialism. Imperialism means a powerful country control other countries by establishing its overall domination. Means the complete power or the total power goes in the hand of a powerful country. and Europe was successful to do so because it had established very strong base of military strength, economy and politics. There were many other countries who wanted to have trade monopoly in India. Monopoly means control of the supply of the product by one person or an organization. So, the British established East India Company in India in 1600 AD. Now, why did they want to have trade with India only? India was a wealthy country. It had good raw material, textile mills. It was rich in spices. So, they took legal permission from Emperor Jahangir and established their factory in Surat because India was dominated by Mughals in those times. So, the company was set in India for the purpose of trade. But unfortunately, they drained the wealth from India and made their own country richer and stronger. France was the other competitor for trade in India, who fought 3 wars against England known as Carnatic War. These wars were fought on the soil of India for supremacy in the part of Carnatic, where England successfully defeated France. Now, there was no other strong competitor for England from the other countries, but there were other rivals already present in India. Who were those? There were different kings in different territories like Nawabs, Marathas, Mughals. British Company wanted to spread their factories in other parts of India as well. Bengal Province was one of the most prosperous province in India. Farooq Siyar granted the company to reside and have trade freely within the Mughal Empire. This right was misused by the company officials. They had built a huge walls around the factory without the permission of the Nawab. Siraj-ud-Dawla ordered the company to stop their fortification activities since they had not taken any legal permission to do so. But the company disobeyed the Nawab. Hence, Nawab captured the factory at Kolkata. As this news spread in England, they sent Robert Clive to win back the Bengal establishment of the British. On the bank of river Bhagirathi, the opposite troops met each other at Plassey on 23 June 1757. There was no comparison between Mughals and Clive's army. So, Robert Clive bribed Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of Nawab army. He promised to make him the Nawab of Bengal. During the actual battle, Mir Jafar did not make any move, and hence Siraj-ud-Dawla was defeated. The after effect of the battle were Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal, but he was merely a puppet in the hands of Britishers. Next is the Battle of Baksar. The Battle of Baksar was fought between the British Army and the combined forces of Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II, Mir Qasim, and Mughal Emperor Shuja-ud-Dawla. In this, the combined Indian army lost the battle, allowing East India Company to collect revenue from Bengal as per the Treaty of Allahabad. Similar way, British tried to expand its control over Mysore and fought with Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan died in the battle at Srirangapatna in 1799. With the fear of being attacked by Russia, England turned their attention towards Sindh and captured it. In 19th century, 20-year-old Ranjit Singh was the crowned Maharaja of Punjab. The empire was prosperous and entirely peaceful. His army included Sikhs, Hindus, Muslims, European military experts. The army was rigorously trained and modernized, especially in the use of artillery. After his death, the next three Maharajas that succeeded Ranjit Singh were all assassinated. The empire was thrown into turmoil. The next Maharaja was a young child. On his behalf, his mother Queen Jindan looked after the affairs of the state. But unfortunately, she was unsuccessful to have control over the other officers. British took advantage and bribed Sikh Sardars. The Sikh army doubled in size. War broke out. After several costly Anglo-Sikh battles, Sikhs were defeated. And by the end, the British East India Company had annexed the entire Sikh empire. With this, we end up with the lesson. But before that, we will just recall the points that we have learned today. We have studied today about Industrial Revolution, rise of capitalism, establishment of British East India Company, foundation of British rule in Bengal, Mysore, Sindh and Punjab. Now along with this, I am going to give you some assignment. You have to read the complete lesson, find and mark all the answers of the questions given on page number 9 of the text. Thank you, children.